1:46 left in the first. Here's Knight. San Antonio with the rebound. Splitters got his third rebound on the night. This, of course, the first opportunity to play Portland this season.
And as you'd expect, they pretty much handled this team a year ago.
Good. Splitters got his first points of the game.
And he shows us he knows how to finish with a flourish.
Lillard the pass tonight. The top of the key jumper is on the mark. Clark, opposite ends of the conference here. The expectations are pretty much the same as last season.
Well, Kevin, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know where the upsets will take place, but they do occur pretty much all the time.
Here's McGrady after the Trailblazers pick up 2. And the whistle blows. It's going to be on Damian Lillard. That's his first foul. Both teams will make substitutions. .51 seconds left here in the first quarter. Here's Neal. He's guarded by Knight. 3 on the clock. Open look. No good. Now Portland takes it the other way. They come into this having outplayed the Clippers last game.
And Kevin, what I liked most about that win was their offensive creativity. They had a really varied approach to the game, and it worked well.
And they sure did shoot the ball well too, Steve, and that never hurts.
One-on-one here.
Get outside.
San Antonio with the rebound. This game coming on the heels of their win against the Kings.
And they played outstanding team defense in that win, Clark. Nobody got stuck on an island. Everybody was helping. Great rotations. It really looked like they were together in that game.
Yeah, and even when they were rotating different players in and out, Steve, I thought their communication was 5-star and the teamwork was very strong.
A free-flowing first quarter. Great scoring through 1. Trail.
Come to where the action is. See your Trailblazers up close and personal. Smooth is ready.
All right, the second quarter beginning in just a moment. And looking at what we've seen so far from the Trailblazers, guys, what do you think?
And they set the tone there defensively with their shot blocking. They've been really intimidating down in the paint area.
You know, in the rest of the game, Steve, shooters will be looking around for the shot blockers because of what's happened in this quarter.
On the court right now for the Spurs. Ginobili out there with Duncan. Then it's Tracy McGrady. Then it's Tony Parker. And it's Blair in at the 5, roaming the paint. Trailblazers leading by 7.
One thing you can say about Portland fans, they love their Blazers. This has traditionally been one of the toughest places to play in the NBA because of that rabid fan base.
Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Hi, guys. Smooth in their last game against the Clippers put together a nice one. He dropped in 26 points and added a few rebounds as well. A truly dominating game from him in what was hopefully a sign of things to come. At least that's how the franchise is thinking, guys.
Well, Doris, as always, you're great. Thank you so much. Definitely, Clark, a game to be proud of, and I can't say that I'm surprised.
Well, we know he's got all the fundamentals and abilities. The talent is there. When you put together a stat line and then you couple that with a good team performance, that's a recipe for success and some good eating, too.
Oh, I love to eat.
It all goes back to food with you guys.
The Trailblazers making a switch here. Lillard's checked in. The Spurs also with the sub. Kawhi Leonard's checked in for Tracy McGrady. And you can hear it as soon as you step into the Rose Garden here. Clark, you and I, when we got here today, you know, this group of fans, this base, they love their Blazers up here.
Some of the best fans in all of basketball, and the Blazers would put on the show for the fans here. I mean, especially last year, they were much better at scoring points at home than they were on the road. There was a 10-point differential between home scoring and road scoring for this team.
That is something else. Well, you look at Smooth. Not sure if you guys noticed on the way in, Nike already put him up center stage on a billboard.
Well, the Make It Count ad campaign seems to have him at the center of it. He's certainly made it count in the NBA so far.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, well,
right.
he's earned this endorsement, that's for sure. I mean, Nike is getting their money's worth from this guy. He's big time.
Parker drives in, and he sinks the shot coming off the strong pick. Parker's got 9.
And defensively, remember, you got to fight through screens to avoid giving up open looks.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Steve. And the defense has to go over the top of that screen. I think that's how they get it done.
Catching up on the changes for Portland, Luke Babbitt, he's checked in for Hickson. And it's Maynor in for Lillard. And now here's the 2K leaderboard with the list of the NBA's best teams from three-point land a year ago. Number 1, the Spurs.
Their long-range shooting last year was nothing short of spectacular. I mean, they were absolutely unconscious from the three-point line.
No one covering. Knights got 6 here in this quarter.
That's now 6 straight points off open threes. Get a hand up, fellas. Pay attention to the scouting report.
Well, you know how quickly things can go south when you start giving up wide open looks to this team.
And here's Neal outside.
And LaMarcus Aldridge, a first-time All-Star last season. It was really nice to see him finally receive that distinction. A player who's embraced the leadership and franchise player role for this Blazers team.
Both teams deciding to change it up. Here's Mills.
I got him.
DeColo. Portland grabs the miss. And for Aldridge approaching his prime, the Blazers have retooled their roster. Clark going younger to build around him.
And I like that because he still has another 8 to 10 years of high-level production and really being in the prime of his career during that time. They felt they were a few pieces away and looked to the draft to find those pieces.
And Batum kicks to Knight. Softly drops in the floater. Knight's got 13.
You can't fault what he's been doing out there. Some really impressive shooting.
He dishes it to Diaw. DeColo. He's guarded by Knight. The 3 from Mills. That's good. Mills has got his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3.
Well, you have to play him tough. He's just too good. You know, the Spurs have always been built around Tim Duncan. But the last few years, they've added more depth than they used to have early in the Duncan era. And so Greg Popovich is playing 9 or 10 guys. They're very deep. They play together. Excellent passing team. And they become much more up-tempo than they ever were early in that era. And he's starting to pick things up here after a tough first quarter.
To the paint. Snatched away. Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris?
Thank you, guys. Brazilian big man Thiago Splitter had an impressive second season. Per 40 minutes, averaging about 20 points, 11 boards. If he keeps that up, he could be a household name. But he says the pronunciation of his first name is closer to Thiago, not Tiago. And he added with a smile, Tony Parker is the only one who gets it right. He's the only linguist on the team, Kevin.
Nice stuff, Doris. Thank you.
Well, I guess being French, he knows how to smooth those consonants out.
So San Antonio goes with a fresh 5 on the floor. And with the team getting older, you really need to have more depth, and the Spurs have certainly added that.
Young or old, every team needs depth, but the Spurs have added the right kind of depth. The players that fit into what they do well, and it's a big part of why they still are able to compete at a high level.
Here's Knight. The good-looking shot from the wing. Knight's got 19 points.
What a quarter for him, and with this lead, I mean, they might as well just ride him the rest of the night.
He feeds it to Parker. The feed now to Blair. Aldridge is there. And the foul called on DeJuan Blair. That's foul number 2 for him.
So now that's twice we've seen the offense collapse. That's back-to-back empty trips because of turnovers.
Yeah, and that's going to be a problem because now all of a sudden you start turning the ball over, you lose all offensive rhythm and flow.
Lillard's checked in for Nolan Smith. 7-second difference, shot and game clock. McGrady kicks to Parker. Shot is blocked. Now, here's Lillard, covered by Parker. Ginobili against Knight. Ginobili, and we're going to have a jump ball. It's tied up there. San Antonio with the ball. Here's Parker. Can't hit. And through the first half, a pretty lopsided affair. It's the Trailblazers. They lead by 18. Well, folks, stick around here at halftime for the halftime show at Damon Bruce for all the highlights from our first half.
Now, presented by Sprint.
Welcome to halftime. I'm your host, Damon Bruce. Out at the Rose Garden, we got a lopsided game through 2. Portland with the lead against San Antonio. A strong beginning to the season. They've wasted no time in getting off on the right foot. Smooth has been tremendous in the first half. His shooting percentage off the charts right now. He's got the magic touch from the field, no question about it. And for the Spurs, it's a grinded-out effort. Their work on the offensive boards, a big factor. Great effort out there. Kawhi Leonard with some valuable contributions. He's picked up 4 points and also has contributed with his passing, making some assists. And back to the Rose Garden we go. Third quarter about to...
McGrady against Knight. Not quite 2.5 minutes played here in the second half. A shot by McGrady, no good.
Well, Tracy McGrady early in his career was a superstar, a 2-time scoring champion. Nowadays, more of a complimentary player, but definitely an effective one.
Knight in at shooting guard. Hickson is out there with Luke Babbitt. Then it's Matthews, and it's Lillard in at point. That's the group in the game for the Trailblazers. San Antonio with the ball. They trail by 9 points. Neal dishes to Blair. Gets it to go. Blair's got 4 points in the quarter. Talking about McGrady, some teams were ambivalent about, signing him because they weren't sure he'd be willing to accept a lesser role.
Well, I think he's proven that that wasn't the case. He has accepted a lesser role, and his ability to handle and create for others is always an asset you'd like to have on the team, and he can definitely be effective setting the table for his teammates. So, to his credit, he's accepted where he is and has helped his team.
They get it again, and yes, sir, that one drops. That's 12 points for Duncan.
Boy, both clubs really battling under the boards.
Yeah, and, Steve, the rebounding story really mirrors the game at large. I mean, it's been pretty much tit for tat, neck and neck.
And Doris Burke has something for us. Hey, Doris.
Gentlemen, the San Antonio Spurs have been bit by bit transitioning from one of the stingiest defensive teams in the league over the last decade to a more offensive-oriented team. Last year, they led the league in field goal percentage and three-point percentage, and were second overall in points per game. Coach Greg Popovich said that the change has been out of necessity as their roster has changed. He said, quote, "We spend more time working on offense these days because our defense won't be as good as it used to be in the past. It just won't." Kevin, they may have lost some of their defensive quickness, but...
San Antonio with the ball. 7-point differential. Knight against Parker. Ginobili the pass to Leonard. Back to Ginobili. That's tipped. On the court right now for the Spurs, Leonard and Duncan are the forwards. Parker and Manu Ginobili, their backcourt. And it's Blair in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. About a minute and a half into the fourth quarter now. Duncan outside. Over Aldridge. The jumper from the free throw line is good. 16 points for Duncan.
Yeah, he's always confident, composed, even under pressure. He just has a demeanor about him that you like if you're his teammate. He just feels like he's going to get it done when you need him.
And one other thing, I like his vision when he's posting up. Being able to score down there is just... Oh, get it! Watch out now. That's something he's capable of every trip down.
and it's just impossible to get tired of.
Yeah, there's always this excitement, this aura that surrounds him, guys, and the crowd senses it.
And the highlight reel replay brought to you by Sprite. Good stuff. The free throw drops for Leonard.
You know, Tony Parker's not a great outside shooter, but he's gotten consistently better over the last few years. He's worked very hard at it, really improving his stroke, his efficiency as a shooter, and it's given him great balance between his inside scoring and everything else that he does for this club.
Blair. And it's Portland with the rebound. Aldridge has got his 5th rebound in this one. Here's Knight. That is good. Knight's got 25 points in the game.
I don't know if he's tired or what, but he's finding it very difficult to score here in the fourth.
We talked about Tony Parker as an outside shooter, as effective as he's been as a slasher. He hasn't really needed to shoot from outside that often.
Yeah, but as he starts to lose a step, he hasn't yet. I've not seen any indication of it, but it will happen if he continues to play. And he'll have to rely more on that improved jump shot of his. And with his savvy and smarts, I don't think it'll be a problem for him to adjust and be effective as he advances in years.
Passes to Leonard. Feeds to Ginobili. Tries to keep it alive. It's Parker with the drive. It's blocked. And it's the Trailblazers on the break. Here's Knight. Puts it up. It's hauled in by Duncan. Duncan's got the glass covered here tonight. 11 boards for him.
A very rough quarter for him as not much is falling right now.
Parker with it. And it's Knight picking him up. Parker against Knight to tie it up. Blocked. Second shot opportunity. And it's Ginobili getting it to go.
You know, they're just getting hammered inside and really need to find a way to be tougher down there. They got to be physical. They got to man up in there.
I agree. I mean, you look at the points they're giving up, most of them seem to be coming inside the paint.
A nice shot by Knight.
Not much luck with his shooting here. 2 of 7 and seems to have got.
And so it's San Antonio who scraped by with the win. It was tight, but they managed to come up with the win.
You know, nobody wants to lose a close game, Kevin. It's much better to win those tight ones.
And that'll wrap it up for Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke. This is Kevin Harlan, and thanks for tuning in.